Hello Internet and welcome to my review for Tokyo Ghoul Re episodes 21 and 22. This is a fair bit late. Sorry. When we last left off, Furuta masterminded the shit out of everything to turn Kaneki into the dragon. Also, Kaneki and Toka got married before all that happened, and Urie and Kuroiwa showed up to fight Furuta, but that all got interrupted by the whole dragon thing, so don't worry about that too much right now. Before I move into the episode proper, just a reminder, I have my straw poll in the description down below for next season's anime reviews, which will be upon us in just a couple weeks. The fall season is quickly ending. Fastly is not a word. But yeah, anyway, let's jump right on into the episodes proper. The first scene we get is Furuta showing up right where Mutsuki is staring at the destruction the Kaneki dragon is creating, just to pour salt in the wound and blame all of this on Mutsuki, because Furuta's just kind of an ass. I'll get a bit more into as much of Furuta's motivations as I can without it being spoilers later on, but with an episode like this, it starts to become clear what exactly Furuta is after, even if it's not quite laid out for you at this point. But yeah, anyway, after the OP, we have these really cool stylistic choice that I don't think was in the manga, of showing the dragon's attacks through cell phone footage. You know, in the first one, the first couple shots of this, we actually see the thing is horizontal. It covers this much of this, or not horizontal, vertical. It covers this much of the screen, and the rest is all black. And it's a really cool choice. And then after that, we have get a bit more news footage, and then we have what's probably the worst moment of the episode, and that is the Kano and Corona scene. The Yasuhisa twins in every anime adaptation have always kind of gotten the short end of the stick. They were kind of brushed aside during Route A. As much as I am a huge Route A defender, they were kind of left in the lurch on that one. And Kano as well was kind of scrubbed from Shuei Morita's anime, and didn't get too much in here. And so even in the manga, I found Kano's death to be pretty fucking rushed and kind of random. And the readaptation does it no favors. At no point, even the original anime adaptation does it no favors. At no point, nowhere did the anime service this scene to have really any dramatic weight. But with that bit out of the way, I love most of this episode. There's not a whole lot to hate in 21. First, Amon and Akira ask Hide why he's going so far for Kaneki, and his response is just, "I like the dude." It's his exact words. "I like the dude." And Hide is just such a pure boy, and I will always love him. He deserves all the happiness. But then we get to one of my favorite scenes of the episode. The episode has enough great scenes. It's actually not my favorite scene of the episode. It's only my second favorite scene of the episode. But that's the scene where Ittori tries to get Goat to turn against the humans. Hey, Kaneki's out killing the humans who oppressed you. Turn on them and go kill all of them and bear witness to Kaneki's will. And Tsukiyama snaps. It's not Toka who snaps. It's not Hinami who snaps. It is Tsukiyama breaks down. Am I the only one who wants to see him happy? Oh god, I love this scene. Honestly, people talk a lot about Tsukiyama's development in the original manga, and when I read the original manga, I didn't really see Tsukiyama's development. It was not until Re that I really bought into Tsukiyama as someone who genuinely cares about Kaneki, and that plays all the way through here. It's it's probably Tsukiyama's greatest moment in the entire fucking franchise. It's such a stark contrast to, especially considering, in all of this, Tsukiyama breaks down, doesn't, Kaneki just wants to read a book and see his friends, and he can't do that as the dragon. Why do you want to keep him as the dragon? And given how Tsukiyama started out, seeing Kaneki as nothing more than what he was instead of who he was, it's a huge sign of the growth of how Tsukiyama genuinely cares for Kaneki. Like, when we first met Tsukiyama, he saw Kaneki as the one-eyed ghoul who would be like his greatest dish. And now, he still wants to take a bite out of Kaneki. That's never going to change. But he genuinely cares for him, and it's so great to see that. God, this is such a phenomenal scene. But then Hide shows up for about a split second before we cut back to the CCG, where we learn that the ghouls have all showed up at CCG headquarters in order to help out finding Kaneki from himself, from being the dragon. And while all this is happening, the investigators, of course, aren't exactly thrilled at the idea of allying with their longtime enemies, especially Ui, who's like, yo, y'all are ghouls, and ghouls have fucking murdered us for eons. Why the fuck should we help you? And Amon walks up and is like, what is an investigator's main priority? And Ui, like, confidently like, to annihilate ghouls. And Amon was like, no, it's to fight for peace. If that means fighting with ghouls, you suck it up and you fight with fucking ghouls. And then, I'm gonna lift the camera up real here. And then, the ghouls show their faces. And this is one of my all-time favorite moments in the entire manga. We're not at my favorite moment yet. That will be probably the final episode. Y'all will see. I swear to God, if they cut out that line, I would be livid. But it's such an important line, they won't cut it. I hope. But we'll see. But the ghouls ripping off their masks is one of my all-time favorite moments in the entire manga. Just the utter level of faith the ghouls have to put into their eternal enemies gets me every fucking time. Like, they've worn these masks specifically so that the CCG won't know who they are. And by lifting it, it's like, we have nothing left to hide. We're here to help. We are your allies in this for the first time ever. We're going to work together. And that's the only way to save Tokyo, to save Kaneki, to stop Furuta. Though does it stop Furuta, is the question. Because you'll recall, back during, I'm not gonna go into too much details here, because if the anime only fans would not have figured this out by now, then it's a huge spoiler for later on. But you should remember, back when Edo, in the Cochlea raid, asked Furuta why he was doing everything, Furuta's response was, super peace. And the super is just Furuta being Furuta. But that peace, judging by everything that happened in these 2 episodes, peace is what's happening. Coming together of humanity and ghouls, we'll see later on with the ghoulification of humanity, in the aftermath of the Dragon Child's poison. Really everything going on here. If Furuta's goal is to bring peace between humans and ghouls, he's fucking succeeding. He's won. He's done it. They're working together, and you can't really come back from that working together. And then we have that cute little Kimi and Nishiki scene that's so adorable, and Kimi and Nishiki just deserve happiness, and I want them to be happy for the rest of their lives, and I love it. And then, as I mentioned a few seconds ago, here come the dragon children, that don't really do a whole lot in these 2 episodes. We do find out that they're spreading poison that is ghoulifying humanity, but that will become much more important in the next 2 episodes. We only have 2 episodes left, y'all. Holy shit. There are 2 episodes left of Ghoul. But then, the last crux of 21 is Mutsuki versus Urie and Psycho. So for the first time, I mentioned before that Mutsuki's story is kind of bolstered by how unimportant he is, because Mutsuki's story is kind of a mess, and by getting rid of it, it kind of makes Mutsuki less of a problematic character, I feel. But for the first time, Mutsuki's story is really hurt by his near removal from the anime, especially from Season 2. Both in that by spending more time with him in his isolation and an Urie and Psycho dealing with losing Mutsuki would have made the impact of the scene land 100 times better. And also, the scene was like several chapters in the manga, and it's like not even 5 minutes here. It still works. The individual moments all land really well. The slap, the Urie, talking to Shirazu about, wouldn't you say I'm a good squad leader now? That hit me right in the heart. But it could have been so much better. And that's kind of what I have to say for most of this episode. It was really good, but it could have been so much better if Shueisha weren't stabbing us in the fucking foot. I don't think I'm ever going to forgive Shueisha for telling Piero to condense 125 chapters or so into 12 episodes. God, it's never gonna get over that. And then after the credits, Toka's metal detector goes off, and she has found Kaneki in the dragon. I forgot to mention all that earlier. That was a pretty big thing I skipped over in my review. They're trying to find Kaneki inside the dragon because he still has the ring Toka gave him. They got a bunch of metal detectors from Miramo and the Prime Minister. And then we move on to episode 22, and the iconic Lake of Gate sequence. It's like a slew of chapters in the manga. I think this one also starts with a silent chapter, much like the Rise of the Dragon did. As Kaneki spends 20 silent pages investigating this area he's in. The whole bit with him falling into the Sea of Corpses. And once he falls in the Sea of Corpses, who is there but his old nemesis, Rize, here to corrupt Kaneki once again, just like she did during the Yamari scene at the end of Season 1. And what I need to say about that is just note how far Kaneki has come since that famous mental confrontation with Rize in the torture room. Back then, he fell fully under her sway. All of his goodness, all of his basic decency was kind of removed. He accepted Rize that he needed to be awful and that it's better to be hurt than to hurt philosophy is garbage. And he became the monster that she told him to be. And even if it was necessary to get out of that situation, it still absolutely hurt him in the long run. Once he got out of there, he was not a healthy person at all. And sure, there are all kinds of issues we've learned about Kaneki's mom since then, how she was also abusive and not really living up to her philosophy. But but Rize, his original turn to the white hair absolutely hurt him in the long run. But now, Kaneki's able to reject Rize. Rize's all, you're a monster, you kill and you kill and you kill, how can you live with yourself? And Rize and Kaneki's I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna burden it all. I'm gonna carry it all, but I can't just reject it all, or I can't just give up. That'll be very important. That idea of fuck, I was trying to thought. But anyway, he has to. It's not that everything is evil. I'm not going to go any further because I'm almost spoiling my favorite line in the entire series, and I'm not going to do that to y'all. But Kaneki is no longer the hate-filled boy he was when he first got the white hair. He's an adult, He recognizes the problems with the world and with himself, but he doesn't shy away from it. He's not, the emo kid he was in Rude. He recognizes that the world isn't perfect. But to quote Full Metal Alchemist, it's there for us. Yeah, I fucking love that scene. It's a phenomenal scene, and it's so important to who Kaneki is moving into the endgame. But then, let's see what else is next. Yeah, just again, humans are becoming ghouls as a result of the dragon children's poison. Again, note how this is making humans and ghouls less of distinct species. And then the gang is surrounded. So after Kaneki wakes up, I skip a whole bunch here because there's not too much to talk about. Furuta's got some technology manipulation shit going on, but whatever. And so after he wakes up, Kaneki goes to like view what he's done to Tokyo with Psycho and Urie, and while they're there, they're surrounded by dragon children. Psycho kills one, but it poisons her, and Kaneki wipes out the rest with this spiffy new angel-themed Kagane. It's super fucking cool to see it in color. God, it's so fucking cool. But anyway, meanwhile, Furuta's scheming and being his general clown of a self. But after they bring Psycho back to CCG HQ, Kaneki and Hide meet on top of on the roof of the CCG headquarters, and that scene is both a beautiful reunion between two great friends, and I mean, Lord knows they need a good reunion, but also just an effective visualization of what he told Rize. You know, he as he mentioned to Rize, he needs to burden the sins that he's committed. He can't shrug it off. He can't like mire himself in hate. He needs to grow. He needs to try to be better. And in order to be better, he has to face up to what he's done. And he can't face up to what he's done if he does not see what he did to Hide at the end of the original Ghoul. And that's why it's so important for him to see the face. Also, it's important because we all want to see what Hide looks like after everything that happened at the end of the OG manga. But yeah, Hide's fucked up. Hide is fucked up all through here. What a fucking episode. What a fucking episode. I'll say 22 is definitely the better of the two, just because it does not have all the pacing problems 21 does. It still has a few, because it's still season 4. But God, what an episode. What a fucking episode. From the Lake of Gates and Rize, everything in this episode is so devoted to setting up Kaneki's personality, Kaneki's character, Kaneki's beliefs going into the final stages of the series. I cannot wait to see how Piero adapts it. I also, just like a random side note, even in the manga, I love the ambiance of this final setting. The ruined Tokyo is such so distant from anything else the series does, that like it's a setting that just like grips me every time. So yeah, I feel like I say this a lot, but these two episodes really encapsulate everything both wrong and right with season 4. The story is as good as it's maybe ever been, but the perils of its adaptation stab it in the ass so much it's almost unsalvageable, But like, even that being said, God, what a story we get this time. From the truce between ghouls and humans, the Tsukiyama and Itori scene, another great Kaneki's Mind scene, that phenomenal reunion between Kaneki and Hide. These are some great episodes content-wise. And, even Mutsuki's scene would have been good if not for the adaptation, and I am not a fan of Mutsuki's character. Mutsuki's character fucks a lot of shit up, and it's just kind of a mess that I don't like. I don't like unraveling. But yeah, that's really all I have. Next time, it looks like Amon's finally fighting Donato, getting revenge for all the shit Donato did all those years ago, and there are a bunch of laser beams in the next time preview that I don't remember in the slightest, but yeah, that's kind of all I have to say for these two episodes. So I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the the episodes and the video. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe or comment in that straw poll. Not comment, fill out that straw poll down below. You know what to do. And as always, people, keep kicking ass, and I'll see you in the future. Bye!